Dream boldly and design wisely. That's the message from the moon on this Pisces first quarter we have happening November 27th, 2025. So the question this week is, what does it take to be successful? What is the secret to success? Well, this first quarter moon has our answers. It gives us a formula and a framework, actually, for how to be successful. Now, this first quarter moon is in Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces. So that's really great synchronicity. However, we are being called here to design wisely. And that's because the planet Saturn, which rules our structures, is also in Pisces. But it's going to leave soon. And the journey that these two planets have had in Pisces, by the way, Neptune is also leaving Pisces very soon, but the journey that we've had of these two planets in Pisces has shaped the last 3 years for Saturn and about the last decade or so with Neptune. As we're coming to an end here, there's a lot of shifting and changing. And today we are going to get into how to set up our structures for success as we move forward. And as we set up those structures and we design wisely, we then create the foundation that we need to be successful. Hi, I'm Laura Kusto, and this is the Moon Method, where we talk about spiritual systems for strategic minds. Now, this all started a really long time ago. I've always been a math geek. I love systems and patterns and frameworks. But I'm also really spiritually curious. And as I grew older and became more and more aware of spirituality, I started to explore it. However, that exploration was really uncomfortable on my part because so many spiritual tools lack a framework. And some of us do better when we have one. So I'm here to provide those for those of you who are like me and you really desire one. So to that end, in my studies, I realized that the moon, literally our closest celestial neighbor, the one that moves the most in the sky and has the most to say to us because of that, that's what that does. It actually gave us this really great repeatable framework to lean into. It's not a daily pattern, it's a monthly pattern. And there's also 9-month patterns. And these amazing, repeatable, and very predictable patterns are what I've latched onto and the core of the framework that I teach here. Now, to that end, if you'd like to start working with the moon, you got to go grab my free guide. It's called the Moon Phase Compass. In that guide, I break down the moon's rhythm and how to hear it, and also how to start working with it. It's simple and foundational and totally free. You can grab that at laurakusto.com/guide. All right, so now let's dig into this Pisces first quarter and what we need to do to be successful. All right, so we're going to loop back to that message from the moon, dream boldly and design wisely. And I already talked to you a bit about Saturn and how that's at the core of this foundation here. And yes, I talked about Neptune. Neptune is also in Pisces right now. Neptune rules Pisces. It's currently retrograde. Well, what does that mean? It means it's moving backwards in the sky. It's going back over things. But Saturn was just retrograde, but it has just turned direct. And that is our signal here on this first quarter moon. Literally in the last week between the last moon phase, which was a Scorpio new moon, and this phase, the Pisces first quarter, Saturn, relative to how we see it in the sky, has stopped and started to move forward again. It was, again, relative to how we see it, it appeared to be moving backwards, but now it's moving forwards. It's done this little redirection of the ship, let's just say. And again, when a planet does that, it sort of stops the momentum in one area of life and redirects it back forwards in the other. And with Saturn, again, Saturn is an interesting planet. It represents some very, I'm just going to say, not exciting things. It represents responsibility, structure, accountability, foundation, learning, putting in the work, right? And in most signs, what Saturn is doing is sort of building and creating progress. However, in Pisces, these last few years, it's been in Pisces since early 2023, about March 2023. Pisces is a water sign and it's very malleable. And so what Saturn is said to do and how it's said to operate in Pisces is that if you have any structures or foundations or, things that you rely on that you think you're really good at, but you're not, or they're not really solid, Saturn is going to challenge them. And if it's not meant to be, it's going to dissolve them and take them away. And so with Saturn moving through its retrograde period, again, backwards in the sky, how that appears in astrology is it's been going over degrees, right? There's 0 to 29 degrees of Pisces. So Saturn has been moving through Pisces, and it's actually gone all the way through those 29 degrees, and it went into Aries for just a little bit this year. But then it's making this retrograde motion. So in the astrology chart, it's literally coming back from, say, 1-2 degrees of Aries, back into 29 Pisces, 28, 27, 26. It's right around there right now. But then it's stopped, and it's going to go forward again, and it's going to move into Aries and stay there. It's not coming back into Pisces when it leaves February 13th, 2026. So what that means for us is Saturn has now gone back over and reviewed some themes around Saturn, Pisces, the area of life, let's say Pisces overseas for you, whether you're conscious of it or not. And it has been doing this work for you too the last 3 years. And it's been helping you eliminate things and helping you become more accountable to the things that you think that you're probably really good at, or you say you're really good at, but maybe you're not. It's holding you accountable for those. And it's literally like stripping away what isn't yours to hold. And so here at this first quarter, the last time that Saturn will be making this shift, we are being called to take some action to move our dreams forward. And Saturn is linked to this. It's literally saying it's time to focus now on this final design for your life. Let's be wise. Okay. So with all frameworks, it helps to have some steps. So the 3 steps to working with this energy and how to be successful, how to dream boldly and design wisely, right? We want to heed that message from the moon. The 3 steps are: number 1, we're going to solidify our dreams. Number 2, solidify the foundation. And 3, design through doing. All right, so let's dig in here. Solidify your dreams. What does this look like? Okay, well, back to the patterning that the moon makes, right? If you've been following me for a while, you know I talk about these lunar gestational cycles. In a nutshell, right now, we're having a first quarter moon. And let's say it's like right here in the sky. Well, 9 months ago, on February 27, 2025, the moon was having a new moon right there in the sky. That's what links these 2 dates together. And so to solidify your dreams on this first quarter, you're going to want to look back to that date. And if you kept a new moon journal, look in it and see what you said. What did you write down? What were your intentions? What were your goals? If you didn't, I would encourage you to also go open up your calendar, look at your emails, look at your photo roll, and see what was going on. Get a sense for what you may have been thinking and what you wanted. What were your desires, right? Those are closely linked to your intentions. But then also another really great thing, even if you have intentions, when you do that review, you can also tap into hopefully your state of mind. What was your energy? Were you positive? Were you in a good mood? Or were you negative? Were there some negative things happening in your life? Knowing that also adds some really, really helpful context to this first quarter. Because if you had a negative mindset, you could have unconsciously set some things into motion. As I've examined these patterns in my life, I have literally witnessed that. I have had really great intentions, perfectly written intentions, but I was under a lot of stress in my life. And then as that moon phase unfolded, as those phases unfolded and they gestated in my life over those 9-month periods, I got some suboptimal results, I will just say. But when I looked back at the pattern and saw what I was feeling, everything clicked together. So that's why I say tap into that. The next thing we want to do now, once we have put our hands around that and we really know, okay, this is what was going on, I want you to ask some questions to help prepare you for the next step. Right now, we want to solidify our dreams. So the questions you want to ask is, okay, if you look at those intentions, has anything changed? Have you changed? Do you still want what you wanted back then? Is there anything that doesn't resonate anymore? Okay. And also, I want to do this because this is very Piscean too, and we're in Pisces. Pisces energy, it's a water sign, it's very feeling. And so I want to encourage you to just really settle in and listen and pause. Take a moment before we do any sort of action and just get really, really clear on what you want, what feels good to you, versus what feels like, oh, I should do that, or that's what everyone is expecting of me, but my heart isn't in it, okay? You want to make those clarification points, because what we want to move forward with is those things that really, really light you up. That's the goal here. And now another thing that we can do in this step is to hone in specifically on the area of life that Pisces oversees for you. And if you're not sure what area of life Pisces oversees for you, I have 2 ways that I can help you with that. The first is through a short course that I offer called Moon Map. It is $37, and in less than 3 hours, you can run through this course and you'll walk away from that course with your map. And that map is going to tell you the area of life that Pisces oversees for you. So when the moon is in Pisces, you're going to know, oh, I need to focus on my relationships, or I need to focus on my career, or my money, or my home, right? There's 12 areas. But the map will tell you that, and it'll also tell you every area of life for every single zodiac sign. So you can use this map forever and ever and ever for the rest of your life. You can find that at laurakusto.com/map. The second way I can help, and this makes it super easy, is through my membership called Moon Chat. With Moon Chat, I literally send you an email 2 days before every phase telling you, hey, we have a Pisces first quarter. Pisces oversees your 6th house of daily routines. Again, I customize that based on your chart details, which you input when you sign up. And then I go on to give you some custom advice that I only give my Moon Chat members, and we also get together on a monthly call. That's something new I just started. But the core of it is really that message you get 2 days before the phases with everything that you need, including the dates that you want to reference. It's all right in one place. So that's at laurakusto.com/membership. There'll be links for those at the top of the show notes, so check them out if they speak to you. All right, now let's move into step 2, okay? So we've gotten really clear on our dreams. We've solidified our dreams and what we want. Now it's time to solidify the foundation. And this is where that Saturn energy comes in, right? It's been dissolving, okay? So we have some time here from this end of November on into mid-February when it enters Aries to finish and dissolve anything else that needs to go. Okay, this is optimal energy for removing things in your life. And if you've gone through a bit of this energy in the last few years, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can get rid of anything else, Laura. But here's what I'm gonna have to say here is you're not gonna get this again. Saturn doesn't move through the signs very quickly. It takes 30 years for Saturn to go around, and it spends a few years in each sign. So you're gonna have to wait about another 27 years for Saturn to come back into Pisces. So just come on, let's bring this across the finish line, right? And so what we want to do here is, again, you've gotten really clear in that first step on what dreams are yours and what you really want and what feels true and authentic for you. Your dreams should light you up. And so now it's this okay, what else needs to go? And on the first quarter, what the energy we're dealing with is, if the analogy of planting a garden is one that we want to lean into, which we often do, on the new moon, we plant our seed. On the first quarter, we water it, right? And we go get some fertilizer, egg it along. But what I also say is if you've sprouted something, but you notice some weeds around it too, we want to pull those weeds. And that's what this is about here. Saturn dissolving, pull those weeds. Again, we're taking this action on this first quarter. We're getting out there. We're interacting with the world. So if something still needs to go, you want to do that. So again, what is new in your life since last February that doesn't fit? And continue to remove it. If it's not solid, it's got to go. Because here's the one thing that, again, going back to the theme here, how do we be successful in life? What do these successful people have that I don't have? Well, in my experience, they are really lit up and excited about what they're doing. and they're authentic and they stay true to that inner light within them, right? If you don't, like let's say you're selling insurance. How do you get really lit up about selling insurance? Well, maybe through some inspiring stories of how insurance has really saved the day. That's how the most passionate people sell insurance. So you got to make it yours. And if there's not a way to make that dream yours for you to get really lit up about it, it's got to go. And it's a weed right now at this first quarter. So again, that is the step 2. That's the part of the work to be done here. And again, not every moon phase is about doing work, but the first quarter really is. It's about being in that energy of taking accountability and responsibility for our dreams, getting out there, interacting with the external world, and making stuff happen. Okay? That's step 2. Step 3. Now we're going to get into the design, right? The design wisely. What we're going to do is design through doing. So while we are removing and cleaning up, we're going to actually look at this too. So you've gotten clear on what your dream is. You're working at removing the things that don't go. But now as we look ahead at what we want, right? Saturn isn't out of Pisces yet. So that was part of my thought here, being respectful of this energy. We're not going to just go out and start taking these steps to put in these new foundations. We want to build it wisely. And to do it wisely, we're not going to just think about it, but we're going to get out there and we're going to experience it. We're going to do it. We're going to go try it on. So start to design some experiences, knowing that you might not, quote unquote, buy, right? Make plans that way. Make them very low commitment. For example, meet for dinner with friends versus hosting the dinner party. Okay? Talking on the porch versus inviting people inside. Okay? Again, very low committal. You think, oh, I want to get to know these new people. Well, let's meet for dinner. Let's not have them all over and have them be inside my whole house and get to know everything about me. Let's meet somewhere neutral, right? So also focus on adventure and stay open to reconsidering your thoughts. And I've got some notes here on why we want to do that. So that focus on adventure, presently, Neptune, that other planet in Pisces that rules Pisces, it's making a trine to Neptune, okay? Pisces is this, yes, very malleable and disseminating energy, but it's also very dreamy. It represents the spiritual realm, and it's making this really harmonious dance with Uranus right now, the planet of the unexpected and sudden surprises and sudden changes. And so if you saw my video from last week, you're going to know that we have an aspect going on right now where Uranus and Neptune are going to be in this angle for the next few years, and Pluto's also involved. It's just this really great energy to be playing with. But their aspect is really, really tight right now. They're both at 29 degrees. So they're both at the end of their sign, and they're very powerful there in the ends of their signs. And so this is a sign to just get adventurous, right? Embrace, you're dreaming about your life, right? Neptune, but bring some adventure into it. Have some fun with this, right? And if you make it fun and it does end up being fun for you, that lights you up even more, okay? And then that would be something that you want to bring into that foundation of your future, that structure that you're going to take forward, right? And then stay open to reconsidering your thoughts. That comes from the fact that Mercury is currently retrograde. And when planets are retrograde, again, I talked about this earlier in the show, it's like they're moving backwards in the sky relative to what we see. Mercury retrograde, it gets all of this attention as this doom and gloom, and people joke about it. Mercury retrograde is actually, it's such an opportunity. We get a few of them a year, and they're the opportunity to go back and look back over what we think and how we have communicated and what we've agreed to. That's Mercury. Mercury's communication and analysis. And so this is also just reconsider things. A sign of really brave people and really smart people is that they're willing to change their minds. I think that there's so many quotes out there about that, but it's okay. It's okay to change your mind. And during a Mercury retrograde, it's the prime time to do it. All right. So to recap, the 3 steps to be successful in life: dream boldly and design wisely. We're heeding that message from the moon. Number 1, right? We want to solidify our dreams by looking back to that day, that new moon, February 27th, 2025. Number 2, we're going to solidify the foundation then. We're going to pull out some weeds, right? We're going to get rid of all of that stuff that doesn't need to be there. That's going to make that foundation unstable, okay? And then we're going to go design through doing. We're going to figure out how we might want to fill some of those gaps in our foundation, but we're not going to commit to them yet. It's okay because Saturn is still doing that dissolving work. Let's let that finish and let's get out there and have some fun. Let's imagine what it could be, sketch it out, and go try it on, right? Again, low commitment. Have fun with it. See what sticks. All right, and that's a wrap for this week. I really hope you found it helpful. And something that came to my mind as I was preparing this is just this reminder of how the energies are so happening for us. Okay, this time of Saturn in Pisces, these last few years, it's been going on since March 2023. It's been really destabilizing. I don't know about you, but since then, my life has gone through a complete rebuilding. And it's been messy. But what I have learned, and especially the clarity that I've gained, that has truly been priceless. Because I now have a newfound respect for the foundations in my life, both the big things, like who am I? What matters most to me? What suits me? What is best for me and my dreams? Taking that full, sovereignty of like, oh, these are my dreams. And so what is best for me and my dreams? That clarity has become so clear. And I don't think I had that conviction before Saturn was in Pisces. So I don't think I'm alone here when I say that in the last few years, I have tried on some things that didn't really suit me. I've attempted to replace foundational elements with better pieces, only to find out that they actually didn't quite complement me either. And so that is okay though, because now I don't need to wonder what if about those other things that I really did want to try. And the certainty that I now have, I have confidence in what doesn't work, and that helps me find what does. So I hope this guidance helps you also put your life into perspective at this first quarter, and that perspective moves you forward towards your own clarity of what you want to continue to remove, as well as some fun, unexpected, adventurous, and curious new things to try on. So with that, I would always love to hear from you. What are you noticing? What has to go? And what are you excited to try on? Drop that in the comments below. And until next week, as always, take care.